Okay, welcome everyone to our monthly call. We are excited to be with you in the month of March. We're excited to be talking about balance. We hope that you have it with you or can go grab it really quickly. And so a little background on what we've been up to on our monthly calls. Lindsay King has designed a really incredible and affordable Oil of the Month Club. So she really carefully and thoughtfully picked 12 affordable, versatile doTERRA oils that we can all implement and learn how to use 1 month at a time. They're oils that maybe you sometimes reach for, or maybe you haven't ever reached for. We've gone over some that I know that we're new to, quite a few of you. So really the Oil of the Month Club is very simple. Each month we focus on a new oil, and we just want to teach you how to incorporate it into your daily routine to really experience it. Lindsay is posting every day in Fierce Oilers to give you education. This monthly call will give you a deep dive into the blend, and we can also send you information and tips via text if that would be helpful to you. Reach out to your oil girl about that. So like I said, monthly call, we're going to dive into the one oil. And we have actually had a lot of fun doing that because I think it allows for extra brain space to really look so specifically at one oil because there's so much behind even just one bottle of doTERRA oils. Okay, so we are going to really look at all the different facets of balance tonight. And so I would encourage you to take notes as we go. You can watch for the recording link in Fierce Oilers. And I was gonna say I'm gonna hand it over to Laura Jaramillo, but I am Laura Jaramillo tonight, so I'm gonna hand it over to myself. Okay, so what is in balance? So I've got my blend right here. And basically it's spruce, hoewood, frankincense, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus in a base of fractionated coconut oil. So the blue tansy and blue chamomile in there are what is like going to give it has a really unique blue color. It's not as intense as some of our other blue oils, but it's subtle. You might notice that there's just a faint blue. I just really think this blend is for topical and aromatic use, but my hands down, my go-to is topical. And the reason that I talked about it a little bit in Fierce Oilers this month is because of the fractionated coconut oil in there. I feel like doTERRA is just really like, this is your blend for topical use and enjoy it. And so remember, when you're using an oil topically and there's the addition of a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil, it's going to stick around longer, it's going to not evaporate as quickly, and it's going to have a longer lasting effect. So it basically gives your oil more staying power. Okay, and I love that about using balance. A lot of you like to diffuse it, that's fine, go ahead. But if you're not sure about how you feel when you diffuse it, I would encourage you to really lean into using it topically and see what you think. Okay, so emotionally is one of the main reasons that I reach for this oil, for the emotional balancing and grounding of it, right? Balance, grounding, all those words. But if you think about it, when you're supporting yourself emotionally and mentally with balancing those things, you're also like gonna help balance yourself physically as well. A lot of us wear this like a perfume. Sometimes people use it as needed. Some people use it for meditation. You can incorporate it in a way that makes sense for you. If you've been using it this month, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat box. And let us know. I just feel like this oil is a reset in the bottle for me. That's how I would describe it. And the words that doTERRA uses to describe it, which are more accurate than any way that I could describe it, would be airy, fresh, sweet, and woody. Okay, so that's just a little bit about what is in it and what's it for. And Jerry is going to talk with us a little bit more about some of the science behind it.
Okay, so we're going to look at some of the philosophy, Chinese philosophy and Western science. So according to Chinese philosophy, yin and yang, 2 inverted black circles with white pieces spiraling around. So you ever see it looks like a squirrely half and half, and they fit together, but they're entwined and kind of spinning around. And so that's yin and yang. So the yin is the dark swirl, is the passive negative force, and the yang is the light swirl, is the active positive one. So you can't have yang without yin, and you can't have yin without yang, right? So this it directly relates to life. With the good comes the bad, and vice versa. So balance means accepting you hold within you both light and dark, but not allowing one to dominate the other. So like a pendulum, finding your equilibrium between light and dark is where you'll strike your balance. So that's what doTERRA took off on. And it's when your yin dominates, you may experience imbalance in the form of depression or anxious thoughts. When your yang dominates, you may experience restlessness, Fortunately, the earth provides you with everything you need to find your center, like essential oils for balance. So doTERRA's research and development team are very intentional in their focus, often spending years to find the combination of oils with the best chemistry that will provide us with the targeted benefits. In this case, a blend of oils that creates balance, harmony within us. So it's called doTERRA's Grounding Blend, one of the first blends that doTERRA created in 2008, and it was specially formulated for the aromatherapy as the first oil to use in aromatherapy, which is a hand therapy. And it was formulated to promote a sense of calm, relaxed, rooted thoughts and feelings, ready to handle what comes our way. So there are 3 tree oils in balance: frankincense, spruce, and hoe wood. So the oils with an earthy wood-like aroma possess calming properties. Frankincense, for example, has been shown to be effective in reducing anxious thoughts. This is because it's a grounding oil derived from the frankincense roots that grow deep into the earth. These roots support the tree even through the most treacherous weathering, and it will do the same for us. Spruce leaf is rich in bornyl acetate, which research shows is most effective when inhaled to promote feelings of calm and relaxation, as Amy mentioned, as well as opening up airways and removing emotional blocks. Hoe wood is extracted from the leaves of its tree. It's rich in linalool, which we know is for promoting calm and relaxation. It's soothing for the skin and for the mind. Think peace and gentleness. And I think I took that from Amy's video from a few years ago. I listened, it was a great video on balance. The other oils are floral oils like blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus, also valued for their calming properties. So Amy touched on blue tansy. It has chamazoline in it, which gives it that blue tint. That on its own, blue tansy does have blue, but when you look at balance, there's really, because of the other oils, it's really hard to tell that there's a blue hue in there. Plus it has the carrier oil of coconut oil. And then that's calming. So blue tansy is calming to the liver and cleansing to the lymphatic system and helpful for anger. And then blue chamomile is valued for its calming effects, eliminating nervous tension, especially when experienced aromatically. And lastly, osmanthus is rich in beta-ione, which has been known in clinical research to reduce feelings of stress when inhaled, again, aromatically. So when you do apply topically, and you'll find out soon from some of the testimonies and how to use, so you'll find out more about that. But whether you subscribe to the philosophy of yin and yang or not, balance is something we all seek to achieve. That feeling of imbalance is something we can relate to. So life has a way of knocking us over, but with a little help from doTERRA, the wood-like aroma of balance will calm you down, clear your mind, and help you find tranquility. And now I'm not sure who's next.
That's so good, Jerry. Thank you. That was wonderful. Laura Whipperman is going to talk to us a little bit more about the emotional side of balance.
Jerry, that was amazing. I learned at least 5 things from you tonight. So thank you. I'm going to just read a little bit from this amazing book. A lot of us have this book. If you don't already have it, I really do recommend it. It is called Emotions and Essential Oils. And inside the book, it's got a page on every single oil, including the blends. And so doTERRA's grounding blend, which is balance, is right here. And it's just lovely the way it's written. And every oil and oil blend has both physical properties that help you with the physical side of your health. And they also have properties that help with the emotional side of your health too. And that's just right where balance is for us. So I'm just forgive me for reading a little bit, and some of the things I say are going to echo what Jerry said too. So balance is primarily a combination of tree oils and root oils. Trees live in the present moment. They're not in a hurry. They are stable. Balance's soft energy is excellent for calming overactive children who have difficulty settling down. It is also a wonderful remedy for those who need to connect with their roots, as in the tree oils again. Balance strengthens a connection with the lower body and with the earth. These connections are especially important when the upper faculties have been overused. So keep getting that tree image in your mind. When the upper faculties have been overused due to excessive thinking, speaking, or spiritual activity. Balance is especially suited for personalities who seek to escape from life through disconnecting or disassociating. These individuals may avoid long-term commitments in work or relationships, preferring instead to drift. But this blend reminds individuals that to realize their true dreams and desires, they must stay focused on a goal until it's actualized in the physical world. Balance teaches us true perseverance by assisting us in staying present with a specific plan or idea until it is embodied. Providing inner strength and fortitude, balance teaches individuals to ground their energy and to manifest their vision with the patience of a tree. And that's why I put my balance on every single morning. Balance can help you release these negative emotions: scattered, ungrounded, disconnected, unstable. And it can help you embrace or support these positive emotions: groundedness, stability, connectedness, committed, self-contained, inner strength, and persevering. And the best way to use balance is, like Amy said, by just inhaling it from the bottle or putting it on topically. Put a couple of drops in your hand, rub it in and inhale. But my favorite way to use balance for my emotional state every day is to put a drop or two in my lotion as I put my lotion on each morning. So that's balance.
Thanks, Laura Whip. All right, Melissa, teach us about sourcing.
Okay, so there are, like, you all know what oils are in here already, and I'm going to tell you that 3 of them I think are really interesting. The spruce leaf is from Canada, sourced from Canada. Go Canada, I'm kind of a fan. Blue tansy flowers are from Morocco, and osmanthus is from East Asia. But I'm going to talk to you about the specifically sourcing for frankincense. You may have not heard this before. I need more balance, but I'm just going to hit it really quick. There are 4 different species of frankincense in this blend, or in every bottled frankincense, and they come from Oman, Ethiopia, and Somaliland. So again, doTERRA is getting those oils from where they grow best so that they have the best effect on you mentally, physically, and chemically. So different species are thriving in different environments and soil types. So for example, the Carteri species grows best in sandy soil. Freriana grows best in dry, rocky terrain. So I think that's really fascinating how they're trying to sustainably source. They don't want to just over harvest in an area. And doTERRA is working very hard to teach natives how to not score the trees too much so that they damage the tree and therefore limit the production and limit the income that can come to the families of those regions. They don't want to put pressure on any one specific species. So they're being very careful and always watching to see where they can source frankincense from so that they can be really good to that whole industry. But frankincense trees grow in the poorest and most underdeveloped countries in the world. There's a lot of exploitation. People come in and do awful things. Actually, pirating occurs. Women are abused and families are stressed. So doTERRA has, by paying people year round, they don't feel like they have to harvest too early. They don't feel like they have to harm the trees. It's a fair, full of reciprocity relationship, and great things have happened because of that. So I'm going to put a link in the chat box so that you can look at the brochure and understand more about how doTERRA works on this from a sustainable and responsible viewpoint. And I'm really, really proud to represent a company that does that. I better sign off. I better go drink my balance.
No, you're amazing. Okay, we go back to Laura Whip for some recipes and some DIY ideas.
Oh, that's right. I'm doing that too. So I have one recipe for you, and that is a DIY, because personally, I really do like DIYs. And Lindsay has put a lot of amazing recipes every day in Fierce Oilers this month for balance. And so every time I would find a good one that I'd want to use, I'm like, shoot, she already did that one. And I think she did this one too, but I'm going to use it anyway. So these are bath bombs that you can make with balance. And here's how I make them. So this is like a silicone mold. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, and those are just little rectangles, but then I have some flower ones too. You can even use a mini muffin tin, or you can free form them into little balls, and they can go into your shower on the floor. And when you take a shower in the morning, you will have that beautiful grounding blend to just kind of waft up into your nose, and you can breathe that in as you're waking up in the morning. So here's how you make it. It takes a lot of really difficult ingredients, right? It's baking soda, balance, and water. Really, really tough recipe. So you're going to just mix it up in a bowl. You're going to add the drops of balance to it, 15 to 20 drops. The baking soda is 1.5 cups, and then there's a 1/2 cup of water. So you mix it in a bowl, and you either pack it into like a mini muffin tin or a silicone mold, or you can free form them into balls that you can wrap in wax paper or store in a jar. So there you go. I would not put it directly in the stream of the shower. It's going to last a little bit longer, and you're going to receive the benefits from it if you kind of put it off to the side or behind where the water's coming down. That is your one recipe. But I have a little bit more for you. And one of the things I wanted to mention comes from the Essential Basics little mini handbook. And somebody's going to get one of these tonight. But they're amazing because they'll fit in your bag or your purse. And it's sort of like a mini version of Modern Essentials. And I just looked up the grounding blend in it. And Amy, you gave a couple words that kind of describe what balance is like. And this book gives 3 words too, but they're a little bit different. I think one word is the same. Stabilizing, centering, and sweet are the 3 words that it uses to describe the grounding blend. But in here you can find, it's a reference guide. It's a list of every oil and its uses, all the blends, all the supplements, a little bit of the science and some of the safety issues and just general knowledge. So it's a really great little book to have. And then I have one more tip for you about balance, and that is, let's see, where did I put that? Oh yeah. You can blend balance if you want to put some in your diffuser, or even mix it, by layering on your skin. Balance blends really well with frankincense. Melissa mentioned that. Bergamot, peppermint, coriander, forgive, citrus bliss, and wintergreen. And I tried all of these, and a good way to try if a blend works for you personally or not is to open the bottles of the oils you want to blend together and kind of hold them under your nose and go back and forth with those bottles to see how it smells together. And my favorites with balance, I did each one of those that I mentioned, and I really resonated with the coriander and balance together, and also the wintergreen and balance. And it kind of surprised me, but it's kind of a personal thing too. So go ahead and try some of those and see what blends you like with what oils you like that blend with balance.
Thank you, Laura Whip. Okay, Melissa, back over to you for some testimonies.
Okay, so like Laura had said at the beginning, I love using balance in my lotion morning and night. And I really notice on the days that I forget to do that, or maybe I take my shower later in the day and I really regret missing that in my routine. But the biggest thing it does for me, aside from keeping me from murdering and eating somebody, which is a real possibility these days, is that it helps with my shaking hands. I have benign essential tremor, and recently a neurologist told me BET is nothing but, it's not benign. It's very complex and hard to hold my hands still. And I find that like I'm reaching a point where I need heavier silverware, right? So that I'm not throwing my food all over. And it's not unlike Parkinson's sometimes, and the difficulties with writing and eating and like putting on makeup and things like that. Yesterday, I knocked over a full bottle of Balance without the lid on, without the orifice reducer in. So I hadn't used my Balance. So when I do the Balance, it calms my central nervous system and really helps calm my hands. And so I always try to use it before I teach. And that's a great thing. The other thing I wanted to tell you is we have a good friend in the intensive care unit on a ventilator right now, and he's really ill. And one of the oils that we've been using on him when we visit is Balance. And Amy has posted, I think several of us have, that really cool picture of the slides of what blood does. When they do a slide of blood drawn before Balance and then 30 seconds after Balance. Amy, can you speak to that just for a minute? Put you on the spot.
You totally put me on the spot. Yeah. So basically what that video is like indicating in those slides is that when I said like how it balances you emotionally and helps you, that there's like a systemic balancing effect on different levels. And so it's like an illustration of that.
Yeah, I mean, the red blood cells are all clumped together in the first slide. And then when you see the second slide, 30 seconds after application of Balance, they're flowing freely. So we have been putting that on our friend's forehead, on his chest, his wrists, and his hands. And we've also been using frankincense on him as well. So those are 2 ways. Was there another way, or is that okay, Aim?
No, that's great. And then Emily has a testimony too. Yes. So with Balance, so I stay home with my 2 girls now, but before I had them, I worked in a special education classroom, and the students that I worked with were like the most intensive high needs in the district. Sorry, my husband's doing dishes, like couldn't be louder. Sorry. Most of them were nonverbal, and several of the students, like if they felt frustrated, they didn't know what to do with that frustration. One of my students, if she got really frustrated, would bite. She would bite her hand, she would rock. And sometimes if she was really upset, she would bite really hard, right? And so working in a public school, I couldn't apply oils to the kids. That was 6 years ago. So oils were still relatively like fresh with people, but still. So one of my coworkers was holding her in a rocking chair and was trying to like help calm her down. And so I applied the oils to my coworker who uses oils, loves oils. And it was like within 30 seconds, she had calmed down. So my coworker's hand was right next to the student's face. So she could smell it. And it was like within 30 seconds. And usually that span of like hard emotions lasts for much longer, right? Several minutes. And so I was kind of like, hey, can I go get that Balance? Like, can I just try it? She was like, yeah, go for it. And the difference was really remarkable. And I would always joke with my coworkers, like, we should have Balance in like the sprinkler system in here, but they never went for it, which is weird. So anyway, I just always feel like I saw the results of that for myself, like using Balance for myself, working with these students, but also like having them smell it when it's on me. I really saw the difference, and with my children at home now too. So that's my Balance testimony. I can't prove that that's what happened, but I really feel like that's what happened. Thank you, Em. Yeah, I think that was such a beautiful use for it. And I think of all the times that a swipe really does change a mood so in such a significant way and not that long. And it still kind of blows my mind. Okay, so that was a lot of really amazing info. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell us in the chat box something new that you learned about Balance? If you have questions, be sure to put those in the chat box. We'll stick around after the raffles to do a Q&A. It doesn't have to be just about Balance. If you have a question about anything, you can stick around with us and ask those questions. And I just want to remind you, like, we are just really all about education and community. We do a call like this once a month for 30 minutes. We want you, even if you have to hide in a dark closet and not turn your video on, to be able to hang out with us and learn and maybe laugh a little bit. And what we're going to be focusing on next month is, who knows, calmer. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Calmer for the oil of the month in April. And this is the Restful blend. It's from the kids line. It's basically a twist on our beloved Serenity. And it's just a little bit different, and it's diluted and ready to go in this roller. The girls really like having it in their rooms. Its roller is $19 if you want to grab it ahead of time, so you're ready for April. If you would like a sample, reach out to your oil girl and ask for one, and we will help you with that. I'm going to put the link to register for our call next month. It's April 18th. Yes, on a Monday night at 8, like we like to do. And so you can go ahead and register at that link. And don't forget about Saturday morning continuing education. So if Monday nights are like wah wah, join us on Saturday mornings. You get to hear from different leaders on our continuing education series. They're at 8:30 via Facebook Live right into Fierce Oilers. And Lindsay King is teaching this Saturday morning. She's doing oils for every age. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, Melissa, are you ready to share your screen, and we'll do some giveaways?
Yep, hang on here. Here we go. Move everything out of the way. All right, here we go.
Okay, I better pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention.
Okay, let's draw for, we've got some really fun donations tonight. Thank you for everyone who donated. Laura Whipperman, a Breathe Touch.
Oh, it looks like a Frango Mint on my screen. Ooh, Shelley Holt.
Awesome. And then let's do the Essential Oil Basics book from Laura Whip. That is a nice reference book.
Ooh, Kelly Keating.
And also an On Guard Touch from Laura Whip.
Ooh, Carla Vibakwa.
Next up, let's do a 15 mil balance from Lindsay King.
Kathy Fukuda.
And a 5 mil balance from Melissa.
This one's fun. It fits in your pocket. Take it with you.
Take it with
Amy
you.
Van Hout.
Awesome. So do you want to tell them what they should do if they won, Melissa?
Yes, hold on just a second here so I can pay attention. Okay, guys, if you won, could you please send me a message, a text, an email, something, and let me know what your mailing address is and what you won, because there's a lot going on these calls, and then I will make sure that we get that off in the mail to you. And but I need you to do that so I know that you were here and you saw that and help me out, even if I know your address.
Awesome. All right, everyone, it's 8:30. If you want to hop off, go ahead and do that. If you'd like to stick around and ask some questions, we are here for that. I see a couple, there's some that I was going to address already, so maybe we'll get started with that. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in April for sure. Okay, so one of the questions I got was, if I don't have little kids, can I use Serenity next month instead of Calmer? So it's totally up to you. I like to kind of use the kids line. I realize I have kids, but like interchangeably with some of like the adult versions, because I think it's really, I think it's beneficial to mix it up and to offer different kinds of oils in different kinds of ways. And so I'm trying to think of how many oils there's lavender in here as well, Kananga, Buddha wood, and Roman chamomile. So yeah, it's up to you. If you look at it and you're like, I'd like to just be really intentional about Serenity, you're in charge of your own. Yeah, totally have at it. Oh yeah, I do think that some people like Calmer more than the aroma of Serenity. I would agree with that. So that's how I would answer that. Any other questions?
Reading this right.
Yes,
Oh,
Tanya, do you
sorry.
have a question?
I'm on speaker. I have a question. Do you have any ideas what to do for hair loss? I mean,
Melissa, do you want to answer?
Yeah, I would. I actually have customers who I've recommended taking the LLV full dose for 90 days and let me know how that's going. And they've had great results.
okay,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I am on that.
You're on the full dose.
I started that, so that's one thing. Well, it's from COVID.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so
September I had it, and it's falling out, and yeah.
I really feel your pain. I am a little past 7 months and my hair just stopped falling out in the last 2 weeks. It took a long time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's some good comments in the chat too. I also feel like if there are oils that you want to add into products that you're already using, like, you know, there's like a lot, I wouldn't say chatter, but like people talk about rosemary. I sometimes even think lavender, like you could look up some of those. Root to tip serum. Is it still available right now? I think it is. It's just a really like nourishing to be able to add in like something topically nourishing in that way, would be things that you could look at.
Thank you.
Kathy, you can send your email, or I'll tell you where. I'll put an email in the chat box and you can send your info there for your prize.
I have a fun little tip for those of you who stayed on as a little bonus for staying on and staying with us. So if you look at the bottle of Madagascar vanilla, you will see that our bottles do not recommend it for internal use. And I just did a post that like broke the internet on asking people how they use it. And they said they use it in their coffee and in smoothies and in oatmeal. And then Tanya reached out to me today and was like, doesn't say that on the bottle. And Amy and I talked about it. I went back and did the research. And what happened was they wanted to release that oil at convention last September. And they had all the labels made. And they made the labels very conservatively because they hadn't finished the one piece of there's fractionated coconut oil in that, because vanilla is a resin and it would be impossible to pour out of that bottle if it didn't have fractionated coconut oil in it. So it just makes it easier to pour. It doesn't reduce the efficacy, but because they weren't sure, they said no to aromatic use. Since then, it has been determined and documented that you can use your vanilla internally. And the next round of bottles, unfortunately, they made a ton of labels and labeled a lot of bottles. And they thought by now that they would have the new labels on the bottles, but I can tell you I bought 6 bottles in February and they're still the old labels. So just in case anybody asks you, Tanya, great question. Thanks for asking that. And now you are in the know.
Thanks for doing the research on that. I was trying to remember. Em asked me a question tonight too, and I was like, oh, I can like just like it's hanging in the recesses, but I can't really pull it up. So thank you.
Melissa, do you remember which oil in Balance in the blend is not for internal use, or why it's just topical and aromatic? Which one is it that you're not supposed to use
It
internally?
could be the fractionated coconut oil too.
Could be.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think that would be worth asking product support at doTERRA.com. I had a question today and I reached out to them and I know they'll get back to me with a solid answer. So Emma, if you could do that, that would be awesome. And I would love to learn that.
Sure. I know I've heard it somewhere. Like I know we've learned it. I just couldn't remember it. That's all.
I know you can take Yarrow Palm internally. I wonder if it's like the spruce leaf. I know that Siberian fir is the only fir that you can take internally, none of the other ones. And that's the beauty of that one, especially for emotional use, Siberian fir. And I wonder if it's the spruce leaf. That would be my guess.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, those are great questions.
Good. Any other questions?
I have a question. So my Balance, every time I touch it after I use it, it's very oily. Like, is that normal? Or is my bottle like broken?
It's because you're so needy. It's like hopping out of the bottle on you. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Sometimes my bottles, it's like for different oils. I think it depends on yeah, it's not always the same oil for me, but it can get really oily around the outside. So that's not like super unusual. I'd say I realize that's not very helpful, but mine sometimes get like that. Like it's like every once in a while I have like a copaiba label that just like completely falls off like into my hand, like, oh, there it
copaiba.
goes. So it just, yeah, I think it just kind of happens sometimes.
Our
Could it be like
copaiba label always falls off.
Could it be like there's like a clog or something? I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about a clog. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I would just think that sometimes the way that it's coming out, because it's, you know, comes more down, I don't know, we'll have to drive down and inspect your balance bottle immediately.
Perfect.
We're on our way.
When should I expect you?
I'll be down in April. Watch for me in April.
I know, I'm excited.
It'd be interesting if you posted that your bottle, and maybe other fierce oilers, you know, have some feedback too. That might be interesting what people say.
I was just gonna say I noticed it last night when I was using my balance, and mine was oily to the bottle. And I was like, is it leaking? Like, so I went and I literally like wiped it down.
That's funny. Yeah, Nikki Kibble just said hers is that way. Amy Van Hout says hers is that way. So apparently you're in good company. I know that mine up by in our protocol box for Whitney's sensory protocol is oily, but that's because I have the dropper, I have the different top on it, and I never close the top. I just dump out of it all the time. It's just like balance, balance, balance. So I think that I probably just assumed that was just me and the way I was using it. So maybe it's a thing. Other questions from anyone?
You've got 3 fierce leaders here in your midst, ready to answer anything.
Sparkling water.
Okay, I don't know if it's a question or what, but so do you guys like feel when you look at your oils, like, do you feel bad if you're not using all of them and you haven't used one in forever? I don't know how to explain it, you know?
I get that actually a lot. I feel like I have a lot of people, especially if you've been using oils for a while, that are like, oh, shoot, like I haven't used this one in a while. I just always am like, don't feel bad. Like nobody uses every oil all the time. And I feel like even for us, we'll go to like some doTERRA thing or learn something and I'll be like, why am I not using copaiba? Like, what the heck am I doing?
What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? You know, like I feel like we go in cycles or like, wait, rose is really great. I haven't diffused coriander in a while. You know what I mean? I think it just go like there are some that are always gonna be like fan favorites, but I'm like, don't feel bad if you're like, oh, I'm not using this one. But if you really want to, like incorporate it for a month or, you know, like what we're doing here, like, oh, I want to use coriander more, for example, or whatever, find some diffuser recipes. But I'm like, don't feel bad. I think that happens to all of us.
Okay. Thanks.
I was listening to somebody who said they like wanted to become more familiar with an oil or felt like they weren't using a certain one very often. And she's like, I just kept it in my pocket for a week straight. It was always on me. I diffused it. I used it, you know, whatever that oil is, you know, applicable for. And she's like, it was amazing. I got familiar with it. I got to know it. I like how I liked it, what I didn't like about it. And so, you know, maybe every once in a while you just grab, you know, we still have all our layers on with all our pockets and all our jackets. Grab an oil and slip it in your pocket and keep it with you, and just reach for it.
I would say something that helps us from getting into the kind of like rut of reaching for the same thing over and over again is to think about switching up your routines really seriously every 2 to 3 weeks. That's like a really good marker. So if you are looking at me and going, I've done, the only thing that I do consistently the same always is balance in my lotion. Everything else I mix up. So maybe just the indicator is when you get a little layer of dust on the top of your bottle in the rack, then you know you need to look at that one. And another thing you can do is call your oil lady and ask her to set up a 15-minute call or a one-on-one where you can go over what you use all the time, and we can make suggestions on some alternatives. And if you have the Symphony of the Cells book, and you can look in the back and there's an oil substitution chart and you could look at the ones you use most frequently every day, and try some other ones in other, like that they tell you can use as alternatives.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like you can't develop, we can't develop like an addiction, but I do think it's good for our bodies to switch it up, try something different.
Or we can't become like immune to the effects of it.
That's the word. Addiction, immunity.
Also true.
One quick question for you. I have an ear infection. I blew out my eardrum and on antibiotics now. So I've been using one of the rollers that was labeled ears, and I've been putting on frankincense, On Guard, oregano. Is there anything else?
I would be using my rose roller around my ear. Anytime you have like a really bad owie or an infection, I have a little staph infection in one of the wounds on my leg. And so rose is my friend. So that's just off the top of my head. You're doing so many good things. I'm assuming you're seeking medical care, right? For all of
Yeah, I ended up in ER yesterday. So urgent care was closed, of course. Our wonderful physicians up here. Anyway, yes, so I'm on the antibiotics. That's all they can do.
Yeah, I would follow with an ENT. There's a great practice in Wausau. You've only got 2 of these, so
Right.
I would encourage you to. I know you're already staying on top of it, but I have so much empathy for your pain. I'm sorry.
M said On Guard Plus in the chat. I think that's a good tip. And I was gonna say, if like your pain levels are still high, I would like in that area totally be using my copaiba. I just used up our copaiba touch the other day, but I found a new one. But I just think that's like the perfect pain relief if you're still experiencing discomfort.
Because I had, well, it's acute sinusitis, but it's like the last week I thought I was getting over this, and there were different times that I would be putting the rollers on Guard, frankincense, and I go from ear to ear, and then I feel like, whoa, everything is gone. I'm fine, and I'm getting over this. But I guess it caught up with me. So I do believe the oils do help, but I just needed more. So I'll try. I never use rose, so I'll try that.
The other thing I was going to say was, the dog started barking and I lost my train of thought.
I was just gonna say when it goes out of hand, it's that's all that you can do. When it goes, sometimes you can catch some of those things early, but they do sometimes just head out of control. So it sounds like you did exactly what you needed to do.
I know what it is. Copaiba underneath your tongue, or the copaiba soft gels for pain. 2 drops of copaiba. I was doing it under my tongue every hour after my surgery, just to, during those first day or 2. When you have acute discomfort, I would say a couple drops under your tongue.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Hope you feel better soon, Bev.
Quick question. What is the Symphony of the Cells book?
You're coming to our workshops, Kelly.
Yeah.
It's basically oil layering protocols. There's 19 of them, and they're like different body systems or different things you're trying to target. And so we're going to be at Superior Street Wellness doing, you said, which day did you say you were coming to? I'll remind you. Are you ready? You registered for April 7th. And so we're going to teach you all about it. And you even said that you would like to volunteer for one. So we're so excited.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay.
That's what it is.
Yes.
It's a good question.
Okay.
Lori,
Thank you.
Lori Demro, back to Bev. Lori is here. Where'd she go? I think she might have gotten off. She works in the medical field, and she said, per the reflexology chart, that Bev, you should be putting copaiba on your toe, your big toe. Okay.
Yeah,
Big toe, or is I looked at that chart a while ago too. The big toe, but I think it's the other 3 toes. Or
Well, so yeah.
Okay. So I kind of go along all the toes.
All the toes.
Get all the toes in there. Because copaiba is going to help the brain too. So
well, maybe I should start drinking that more.
copaiba tea.
I'm gonna ask next month what beverage you brought to the call, and Bev is just gonna be like sipping a bottle of copaiba, a little mini straw in it.
Yeah. The other thing is back to Bev. Sorry, Bev, we're picking on you now. But when I was in Jamaica, I sat in on a doctor panel, and Dr. Riggs said that he uses these chewables morning and night, these On Guard chewables that have all the extra things like zinc and vitamin D and magnesium and vitamin C. He uses these morning and night. He said when he is encountered a stressor, like he's been exposed to something or he's actually sick, then he uses the On Guard Plus. So I thought that was a really good distinction.
So the On Guard Plus, the capsules,
Yes.
and I do take that with my night pills.
Okay. So I thought that, and he also said that if he's not sick, if he uses these or he uses the beadlets. So I thought that was really interesting. He reserves On Guard Plus for when his body really needs it.
Okay.
I used to do that, and then like whatever, and I'm like sucking down. I told Emily when Whitney and Zella started to get sick that I couldn't repeat the number of On Guard Plus capsules that I'd taken in a day because they would find me.
You're so funny. Also, there was a nurse practitioner on the panel. Amy and I got to listen to her when we were in Utah this summer. She was the bomb, but she kind of contradicted. It just shows like everybody has to find their own way, very much so. But she was like, her staff worked right through COVID, right through the whole pandemic. And she had them all, part of their routine was they took one On Guard Plus when they got to work and one On Guard Plus before they went home. And she didn't have, none of her people got it. So she really felt like, in her opinion, that was the way to use those. So
I'm justified.
if you're looking for like very clear-cut answers, don't stay on the call afterwards with us.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to, or is it, Melissa, are you gonna be mad if I have to go pack? Are you gonna be mad? Look at, she's so mad.
I know it doesn't matter. Anybody else, anything before we go?
Anything else before we wrap it up?
Where are you going to?
We're gonna go to Green Bay for a night and then to Appleton.
Okay.
Thrilling.
I thought someplace south, a little further south.
No.
We'll have a good time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for hanging on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I love answering questions. Keep it.
See you guys soon.
Bye.